Hello and welcome to what is the first in a series of lectures based on the UAW TV program, but also the journalism program at the Faculty of Creative Arts. UAW TV and the journalism program working with the In2uni program with Year 9 students, and my name's Sean Burns. I'm one of the journalism lecturers who are helping present the program. So I'm a former journalist, so hopefully we're in the realm at least of talking about what we know about. Today we're going to talk about journalism and what it's all about, and have a quick look at UAW TV, but we'll go into it further in coming lectures. But first I wanted to show you a promo that we've put together for UAW TV this session. Like all good things, if you think you're doing well, you should tell people about it, and that's what this promo is all about. So a short, sharp end there, but basically, as I say, as is the case with the In2uni program, we do these things, but we also want people to know about them and to become involved, so that's what the promo is all about with UAW TV. So what is journalism? This is the Oxford Dictionary's definition of journalism. Taking a close look at it, you can see that it's fairly traditional in its approach. It's a fairly traditional definition. I think it has its limitations. I think it has its deficiencies. And one of those deficiencies, if not the major deficiency, is it's limited in its focus. It's limited to writing. Journalism is intrinsically about people being able to write and be able to present their message, but those messages are now being presented in many ways and have done for many years. But in the changing digital world, journalism has a base, yes, of writing, but there are many different forms. I think journalism really isn't about the means of which it's delivered. It is about what is being delivered. So what is journalism? It involves questioning, and these are key aspects. Journalism is about investigative skills, tracking down the information and tracking down the people that you need to successfully complete a story. It's about interrogating information. It's about checking and double checking. Now it sounds a little cliche, but to check and double check facts or information that is delivered as facts is a major part of what it takes to be a journalist. And it is the retelling and or the interpreting of stories as journalists see them. Not everyone has the opportunity to go and see what journalists do. It's their job to be able to be the eyes and the ears of those people. For me, look, journalism is a journalist practices journalism, and those journalists, I think, really just need to be interested in the world around them. They need to be the sort of person who sees or hears something, and instead of just pausing and going, oh, that's interesting, and moving on, the person who has that kind of inbuilt journalist is someone who stops, says, oh, wait on, that is interesting, I want to find out a little bit more, and I want to tell other people about it. Now, if that's the sort of person that you are, then you have that significant stepping stone that's required in terms of being a journalist. Of course, questions are at the heart. There are some key questions that need to be asked, and when we talk about the simplicity sometimes of being a reporter or being a journalist, some of that simplicity is delivered in the 5 W's and an H. So you're really asking who, what, when, where, why, and how. And if you can answer those questions, or you can ask and have those questions answered, then you're getting somewhere towards a complete coverage of a story. So who is involved in the story, who does it affect, and Who else should I talk to about this story? There's the limitation that some people put on their stories is to be happy with one or two sources. The more sources you can get to verify or to build a story, the better. What? Well, clearly, what happened? But then you've also got the other questions. You know, what surprised me? So that what surprised me as a journalist is something that people can deal with in many ways. They can say, well, if this was a surprise to me, would it be a surprise to someone else? Is this the important piece? And what can people do about it? What people generally find when they consume journalism is there are things that spark their interest or their imagination, or even, you know, make them angry, happy or sad. So what they try and do then is try and be involved in the story. So you should, as the journalist, be able to inform people as to what they could or could be doing in regard to this story. Where? Well, where did it happen? It's quite an obvious point. But where is the story going next? That's the sort of question that people don't always ask. Not all stories can be delivered in one hit. Well, not all stories are just here today, gone tomorrow, or here this hour, gone the next. The key is to be able to say, okay, is this story, does this story have legs? Does this story have the capacity to go somewhere else? And if you can do that, then you're starting to think like a journalist. When? Oh, well, when did it happen? But when did the turning points occur in the story? When was it that this story really got interesting? When was it that people who are reading this story would say, well, that is the point that I really wanted to hear? And when should I report the story? Well, that's the sort of question that court reporters need to deal with every day. There are limitations by law on when stories can be reported, but there's also moral and ethical issues that journalists have to balance up as to when a story can or can't be told. And why? Why is it happening? Why is it important that this story is told? And why am I sure I have the story right? At the end of your compilation of your story, if you feel that at the end of it you haven't quite got it right, then maybe you need to rethink, if not the whole story, at least major aspects of it. And how? Well, how is crucial, because it makes you question, how did I get this information? It means, and have I got this information from reliable sources? Have I checked? And how would someone describe the story to a friend? A journalist needs to think about the impact of their stories. And if that description of a story is good, bad or otherwise, then the journalist should be interested in how their work is being consumed. Look, and quickly, UAW TV we'll talk about over the coming weeks, but it's about our journalists, our student journalists at the Faculty of Creative Arts getting involved with hands-on experience, really starting to understand that the theory can be turned into practice. So through UAW TV, we have journalists out there reporting on a daily basis, but also producing, editing, presenting, and turning that theory into practice. And here's a bit of an example of what they do.
Hi, and welcome to your UAW update for Week 13 Spring Session. I'm Chloe. The impact of the Prime Minister's most recent visit to the Illawarra and the university is likely to be felt for many years. In her second visit to the region, inside a month, the PM came bearing gifts. Meg Collins has the story.
In light of recent setbacks, the road ahead is bright for Wollongong, according to the Prime Minister Julia Gillard, as she added Wollongong to the list of areas to soon receive the National Broadband Network. The network, which boasts internet speeds 100 times faster than existing services, will be seen as a huge asset to Wollongong and the university.
It will bring new productivity to businesses who are here today, and it will enable the creation of new businesses too.
The university was also a crucial part of Wollongong being selected to receive the service.
Because of the work that is happening here at the university, and that it is training more ICT graduates than any other place in Australia. A great credit to this university, a great credit to the region.
Ms Gillard also announcing 500 new jobs in the Illawarra as a part of the construction of the NBN. Welcome news to many in the region. The network will be rolled out over the next 12 months in over 10,000 homes and businesses across Wollongong and Dapto. Meg Collins, UOW TV.
And the NBN announcement comes at just the right time.
So there's an example of some of the work that the journalists, the student journalists here in the Faculty of Creative Arts and the journalism program are producing. It gives them, as I say, that hands-on experience. So quickly, reviewing. Remember, journalism is about the inquisitive mind. Journalists need to, by nature, be interested in the world around them. It's not something that can really be taught. It's something that people are either born with or they develop. It's a cultural thing, a socialisation thing. There are 6 key questions, 5 W's and an H, and they're the questions that at the end of a process, at the end of an interview, that you should check to see whether you have answered those, asked and had those questions answered. And UOW TV, well, it's about putting theory into practice, and we'll talk about it in the next couple of lectures. So next time, UOW TV in focus, and we'll talk about the interview, an intrinsic part of the process. Thank you.